Hello friends, Dr. Hampton here. Now, if you've ever searched when should I eat online, congratulations. You've walked into a digital haunted house. One person says fast 16 hours. Another says eat every 2 hours like you're a newborn. Somebody else says if you don't chug a shake within 11 seconds of your last rep, your muscles will file for divorce. Let's simplify this with a doctor's brain and a little humor. For fat loss, steady energy, and protecting your metabolism. The big question isn't how many meals you eat. It's this: when you are eating your protein, and are you eating enough of it at one time to actually matter? Because protein timing isn't just a bodybuilding topic. It's a metabolic health topic. It's a blood sugar topic. It's a why am I hungry again already topic. Today I'll show you what matters, what doesn't, and how to use protein timing to preserve muscle, reduce cravings, and make fat loss easier without turning your life into a spreadsheet. Here's the key mechanism. Your body is always running two opposite programs, building and breakdown. Muscle isn't just beach decoration. Muscle is a metabolic organ. It's a glucose sink, a strength bank, and a major driver of resting metabolism. So when people lose weight, the real goal is fat loss, not muscle loss. Losing muscle is like selling your furnace to pay the heating bill. You might feel clever for a week, then winter shows up, like it's doing right now in most of the country. The process that protects muscle is muscle protein synthesis. Let's abbreviate it MPS. Think of MPS as your internal construction crew. Repair, rebuild, maintain. And here's the crucial part most people miss. MPS responds best to a meaningful protein signal, not a constant trickle. It's not a faucet you turn up by nibbling protein all day. It's more like a motion sensor light. You need enough stimulus to flip it on. That stimulus is driven by essential amino acids, especially leucine. Leucine is a major trigger for the pathway that tells your body build and repair. In normal people terms, leucine helps flip the switch. So what's a common mistake I see in clinic? People start the day with coffee and courage. Then lunch is a salad with 2 grams of protein and a dream. Then dinner is the first real protein meal of the day at 8 p.m. followed by, Doc, why am I starving at 3 p.m. and tired all the time? Because you never gave your body a strong signal early. You were basically whispering to your metabolism all morning. And your metabolism is hard of hearing. So what's the best time to eat protein? A lot of people assume it's immediately post-workout. Protein after resistance training is helpful, no question. Training creates demand for repair. But if we're talking about fat loss, appetite control, energy, and metabolic health for most people, the most important window is your first meal of the day. Now, I'm not here to fight your intermittent fasting. If you skip breakfast, fine. But when your eating window opens, protein should walk in first like it pays the mortgage. Here's why. When you wake up, your cortisol naturally rises as part of your circadian rhythm. Cortisol isn't evil. It helps you wake up and mobilize energy, but it's more catabolic, more breakdown leaning. If your first meal is just caffeine, you're telling your body, we're still hunting. Your body responds by increasing hunger signals, cravings, and if needed, breaking down tissue to help keep the lights on. But if you open the day with a solid protein dose, you send a different message. We're safe. We have building blocks. Protect lean mass. Stabilize appetite. And this ties directly into satiety hormones. Protein is the MVP of fullness. It supports hormones like GLP-1 and PYY and helps suppress ghrelin, the feed me now hormone. Translation? A protein-forward first meal tends to make the rest of the day easier. Compare that to a high-carb, low-protein breakfast. Cereal, bagels, pastries, or a breakfast bar that's basically candy with a yoga mat. Those meals can spike glucose and insulin, then leave you on the blood sugar roller coaster. By mid-morning, you're hungry again, cranky, and suddenly office donuts look like emotional support. One more cool concept, the second meal effect. What you eat first can influence your glucose response to the next meal. When your first meal is protein forward, often lower in refined carbs, you commonly get steadier energy and better appetite control later. It's physiology, not willpower. Now, if this is helping, hit like and subscribe. It tells the algorithm you want evidence-based metabolic health and just enough human to keep it human. Now let's talk dose, because timing without dose is like showing up to the gym and doing one bicep curl, then declaring, I'm trained. For many adults, a practical per meal target to strongly stimulate MPS is roughly 25 to 50 grams of high quality protein. Some people do great around 25 to 30. Many do better at 30 to 50 grams. If you're larger, very active, or older, you may need more. Why older? As we age, many of us develop anabolic resistance. Muscles become less responsive to the same protein signal. Translation? You need a louder knock. Now, some people worry. Won't protein spike insulin or kick me out of ketosis? Protein can stimulate insulin a bit. That's not automatically bad. Insulin is a normal hormone. The problem is chronic dysfunction, not a normal response to real food. And yes, your body can convert some amino acids into glucose through gluconeogenesis, but it's demand-driven, not automatic. For most keto and carnivore folks, protein is not the enemy. In fact, the bigger problem I see is undereating protein, losing lean mass, and then wondering why metabolism slows and hunger gets louder. So here's the distribution strategy. If you eat 3 meals a day, aim for roughly 30 to 50 grams of protein per meal. If you eat 2 meals a day, you may need closer to 40 to 70 grams per meal. And yes, total daily protein matters. Timing helps you use it better, but you still need enough overall. Many people aiming for fat loss while preserving muscle do well around 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of target body weight per day, adjusted for age, activity, and medical conditions. If you have kidney disease or other concerns, work with your clinician on individualized targets. Now, exercise. Resistance training is like sending your muscles an email that says, we're keeping you. Protein is the supply chain that says, and here are the materials. If you lift, getting a solid protein meal within a few hours after can support recovery and adaptation. But the extreme anabolic window panic is overstated. You don't need to carry a protein shaker bottle like it's an oxygen tank. The big wins are consistent. Enough protein, appropriately distributed, starting with your first meal. And here's your action plan, simple and realistic. First, make your first meal protein forward. Breakfast or first meal after fasting, protein goes first. Second, hit a real dose. For many adults, starting around 30 to 50 grams per meal. Third, distribute it across the day. 2 to 3 meaningful protein meals, not one giant dinner rescue mission. Fourth, support the rest of the nest. Sleep, stress, movement, and strength training. A perfect protein plan can't overcome 4 hours of sleep and a stress level that could power Chicago. Bottom line, your goal isn't just weight loss. It's fat loss with strength, energy, and metabolic resistance. Protein, timed and dosed well, is one of the most reliable levers to get there. Now I want to hear from you. Do you get protein in your first meal? Or are you currently in a committed relationship with coffee and hope? Comment below with your go-to protein first meal. And if you want more help with root causes, insulin resistance, cravings, fatigue, stubborn weight, maybe consider this video right here. Or at the minimum, subscribe to my channel here. Thank you for coming to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.